If your marketing agency is not talking about AI, you have a major problem.
Your cost per acquisition, I've seen it reduced by like 60% using AI tools.
What is the most underrated use of AI that you've seen?
I would say it honestly is the voice AI.
What is some low-hanging fruit that a contractor could utilize to decrease ad spend using AI?
So there's definitely some easy ways to do that. One of them is,
What's one dead giveaway that a contractor's marketing agent isn't using AI to help generate leads for them?
You have a product out there called Ad Personnel Queue, right?
and what I really love about that system is
Welcome to Beers with Contractors.
Hey, very cool episode today, guys. I'm super pumped. Before we get going, obviously, we got to thank some new subscribers. There's so many since our last week. I won't be able to get to y'all, but some of you guys have some very inappropriate names, so I'm going to skip those. First one off the bat, Terry Krusty Crayons, Thomas Bright, Ross Walker, Stewie, Terry Says So, Loon 213, Bat Ship, and then Sean, Zach Mills, and let me see. Let's get one more appropriate one. Carter John McCarthy. Thanks for subscribing. If you're listening, like, subscribe, hit that notification button. Terry. I am pumped about this episode because I met this guy a few weeks ago, and I know you are a tinfoil hat wearing maniac up there, living in the boonies, thinking that, you know, the government's watching you and everything's tracked. Well, today's guest is going to shine a light on it for us all. I'm just kidding. We're not going to that deep of a level, but specifically around marketing. And I was in a group with one of our owners roundtables a few weeks ago, and somebody said, listen, if your marketing agency is not talking about AI, you have a major problem with the company that you are paying for leads. And it was just by coincidence I met this person the very next day, and we hit it off super well. So I've actually got a hybrid bio here to get us going because I started one, but then he sent me tons of information. So let's just break this down. We think AI tech guy, but he taught tech ed and industry trades for 13 years. So he knows our industry, which is super cool. Everything from graphic design to architecture, auto, electronics, engineering design, finished education, teaching industrial trades at a tech center, jumped into real estate. You know a little bit about that, Terry. Business acquisitions, purchased an AI marketing business called Agency Apps. It's on a mission to create a marketing agency in a box. So, you know, this is super cool because what they do is not only are they innovating new products, but they're bolting into not only home service companies, but also marketing agencies and all of the back end. I was super geeked out when I met this guy. I got to talk to him. I was like, dude, you have to be on our podcast. Like, you got to help us. So introducing today, Shane Evans of Agency App. Shane, welcome to Beers with Contractors, my man.
thank you so much for having me here, Will, Terry. I really appreciate it. I don't have a beer today, but I have got a kombucha because, you know, it's 5 o'clock. I haven't gotten home yet. So cheers.
Well, that's okay. Listen, I think, Terry, validate this for our 5-6 listeners. Shane has to have the coolest haircut of anybody we've had on the program to date. Would you agree?
It definitely has the most elevation to it, and in the profile view, you know, he's just killing it. So, yes, I would say he's looking better than any of us.
I know the attorneys and like CPAs that we've had on the show in the past are probably looking back thinking, man, I probably could have flared it up a little bit. So
Absolutely.
Shane, super excited that you're on today. We are going to take a deep dive into a lot of stuff that even I have some curiosity questions, because when that came up in that group, I was kind of unsure. Like, well, I don't know what my agency's doing, and we're known for throwing money at our agencies and hoping we get leads in the home service space. But why don't we, before we get into that, so how the hell did you trip and fall into this industry and adapt so accordingly coming out of teaching in tech schools? That's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, when I left teaching, I went right into real estate. So, you know, purchasing buildings and properties and renting them and wholesaling them and doing all that fun stuff. And met up with my business partner who in business acquisitions, as well as she used to run a marketing agency at the high end level. So this was one of those things where, you know, we're going and we're buying businesses and we're buying properties, and we want to be able to support the properties with the businesses. And, you know, home services businesses are mainly what we're focusing on. And we were like, well, now we need a marketing company that can then go ahead and do the marketing for these businesses so that we can scale those, right? So that's how we've stumbled into this. The broker we worked with did not start off very well, actually. And then it became one of the best deals that we kind of put together. And so just been diving headfirst into this for the past 9 months or so. It has been really, really awesome to just see how, I thought I was like on the cusp of like using AI and things like that. And now that I'm in this, I still feel like I'm behind. It's amazing how little people are using the capacity of what AI is and what it's going to be. And it's just insane, especially for the marketing world.
It's funny because you're in the AI marketing world and you're even saying like it's hard to keep up with. So
yeah, like there's new things every week. You're like, how do I incorporate that? No, I got to focus on my one thing, right?
Well, but it's okay. I think it's like there's a crossroads. We have like this. Things are changing so fast. I'm just going to ignore it. Versus like things are changing so fast, but let's just separate everything and say what's going to be important to me. So let's just talk about lead generation for a lot of contractors out there. Like, what's one dead giveaway that a contractor's marketing agent isn't using AI to help generate leads for them?
Yeah, and I think this is a kind of a loaded question, right? Because most companies, right, an owner just says, "Hey, go ahead and do my ads," right? They're not looking at the agency and going and checking their KPIs. And 90% of these companies who hire someone, you just say, "This is the magic bullet," and just go ahead and do it, right? So one of the big things is if they're not pumping out a new campaign for you in like 72 hours, they're not using AI, or they don't have a robust enough company or team to make it happen. And so like your cost for acquisition should be reduced. I mean, I've seen it reduced by like 60% using AI tools, right? And it depends on which tools that you're using and things like that. But your costs should be dropping fast. And if you see them going the other way, they're probably using the wrong AI and they're using you as a test dummy, to be honest. If you see that your return on investment is going up, when Google rolled out their new AI platform, things were just through the roof. They were using everyone as test subjects. And now that they kind of honed it in, it's gotten better, but still, they need to know what they're doing. I would say if they're not talking to you about it, there's a problem, right? If they're not actually saying like, "Hey, we're using this new AI tool," like they should be touting that. They should be talking all about it. They shouldn't be embarrassed that they're using a tool because, a lot of them are proud, right? They're like, I do all this work. This is my work.
Mm-hmm.
We all are like that, right? We show me, but at the same time, if you can get me that work done quicker, that's what I want. We all want that.
So Shane, if I am a home service owner, right, and I am not understanding AI and how it's all playing, how do I get started, and what like keys should I be looking at to say, yes, these people are using the right tools, I am getting what I need?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's a couple ways to do that. I mean, most people don't even know how a paid marketing ad works, right? They don't even know that Google or Bing or Microsoft or Facebook, they don't know how any of that stuff works. I mean, the first question they should be asking is like, how are you leveraging AI in my campaigns is part one, right? Most contractors and most business owners, they're not working on their business, they're working in it, right? So they need to first take a step back and they need to be like, the number one thing I need is what? We all need leads.
Yeah.
We got to have them leads, baby. Share them leads.
And if you don't know how you're getting your leads, if you don't know how the system works, you don't need to know all the details, but you need to at least understand the concepts behind, it's like eBay bidding strategy, right? You put a bid out there and it bids up until it gets to your max bid and then you're out, right? But if you don't understand that, then I think that's really where you need to start. You need to understand the process for a Google ad and how that works.
Well, in regards to like funny thing about like the marketing company actually admitting, hey, we're trying this new AI product. Terry, have you ever heard about like the first project we ever did here in Oklahoma when Sydney and I moved here?
No. How horrible did it go?
Hey, easy, bro. Like it went amazing. First off, we had already been in the business like 14, 15 years, but we moved here. And of course, I ordered all new equipment. Get to the first quote unquote job, and all the equipment is shiny and brand new. And the customer literally looked at me like, looked at all of us, the team, like, have you guys done this before? like, I'm like, yes, I've been doing it 15 years, but it just so happens like this is our new startup in Oklahoma City, and all of this equipment is brand new. So be glad, like you're not getting janky equipment. Like we're gonna do a good job for you. But everybody just breathed a sigh of relief because it was like they outed us. They know we're frauds. So I'm glad to hear like a marketing company should be able to admit, like, hey, we're experimenting with this because we're on the front edge of it. We want to know what works. We're going to tinker. We're going to figure it out. So you don't find that in a lot of humility of marketing agencies because at their core, they're really good salespeople, right? They're good at selling their product and service and give me this much money and I'll give you this much leads. So Shane, obviously you sell and help companies with the AI component backing into their marketing. But, today, even though a lot of us contractors are Neanderthals walking around with clubs, like what is some low hanging fruit that a contractor could utilize in their business on their own today to decrease ad spend using AI?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's definitely some easy ways to do that. One of them is to just be using something like, as simple as ChatGPT, right? And that's kind of the gateway AI for anyone who's hasn't really used it. You can jump in there and you can start typing in and doing your organic media, right? You can do your organic posts through that and just literally tell it to create a campaign for you. But I would say if we're talking specifically ad spend, finding software similar to what we have at Agency Apps that will actually create the campaign for you. Like you come into our software, you punch in a couple things and you say, I'm a plumber, and it does your campaign for you. And it creates the keywords and the research and everything else. And it creates the CSV file that you just upload to Google Ads and you link it up and you're pretty much ready to go. And so finding things that are actually targeting the right keywords and understanding your client, actually, and that's another one that I'd love to talk about later. But, understanding your client and what their needs and wants are, right? How many of us really go on and look at reviews of our clients on a daily basis? Not too many. Like if you're not getting actual feedback, and if you can automate that process too, that's a really great way to loop back in what your clients want, need, and hate about what's going on. Finding the right tools is important for sure, because there's a lot of them out there that are just like, we'll do this thing and it'll do voice ad, but you're spending, video ads, you're spending months trying to figure out the software. But if you can just go in and start it, that's the key thing to build your campaigns.
Nice.
Shane, it seems like obviously in this space, there's a ton of advancement in terms of AI. Everything's changing daily, probably. If you were to look at it right now, which one of the AI platforms that's out there is the best to be used or used for a home service provider?
On ads, like where are we focusing on?
I mean, literally, you're talking to someone who plays with crayons, right? So, like, if I'm trying to
Terry, you chew on crayons. Just be honest.
just not
Be
crusty
honest.
crayons, apparently.
Okay.
At this point, like if I'm trying to get out there and I want it to automate some of my processes and give a return on investment for me in terms of marketing or customer relations or what have you, which one should I work with? Which one should I shy away from?
So I'm not going to talk about brands because that'll just be, a can of worms. But I would say something that we've seen the best return for people is by far using voice AI. So using a voice AI service like the one we have is you can literally have someone come call your company, and instead of having someone at the front desk or that call service you're spending $1,000, $2,000 a month for,
Yep.
they will actually answer the client's calls and actually schedule something for you on the call, and you can barely even tell it's voice AI. People are just like, wait, this was an automated system, but it'll literally schedule a site visit. It'll answer questions. It will actually have a full conversation with you. And what I really love about that system is, let's say someone comes to your site and types in that they want a quote or something. It can pick up and call as soon as they submit that form. So speed to lead is huge, right? As you guys know, if you don't answer the calls,
Yeah.
you're wasting your time, you're wasting your ad spend, right? If someone clicked on the link to get to your site and you don't capture that lead, that's a wasted money, right? But if they can call you or you can call them directly, it's huge.
So hold on, Shane. You're not giving yourself enough credit because you're speaking generalized of like voice AI and things like that. But no, this is something you guys have built and you're
Yes.
bolting into businesses right now. Like, what's been the success of using like voice AI to help contractors get that speed to lead and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen, we have a client that we just helped out. They were, what was it? A roofing company. We got them about 59 leads using the system in a month. Within setup takes less than a week, not even. You can even clone your own voice if you wanted to have one of your your own staff members. Isn't it? I mean, you've talked about 11 labs.
I know that's
Yeah,
crazy. It's so
yeah,
creepy, but it's cool. Yeah, it's so cool though. But homeowners still want to deal with that human interaction of feeling like they're dealing with a family-owned business and especially small local markets that aren't
Mhm.
just like a corporate monster owned by
yeah.
PE and things like that. So that's crazy that you guys are using voice AI to introduce that back. And it's just
That's
creating
it.
customer service because, well, shit, most customers, they just want to be told, like, hey, I just need an answer to
100%.
my question or problem. Right. And it's like, damn, let your
Yeah.
voice AI do that. So that is so cool that you're doing that. Now, I want to break down kind of the clutter real quick here, Shane, because everybody can say it's evolving so quick and things like that. But how I remember, like, remember when Terry, you remember when you used to have to help your buddy like move a freaking television and like it took like an act of Congress to move TVs,
Yeah,
right? You remember
they were
this?
big. You needed a truck, and you usually got paid with pizza and beer, right?
Yeah, well, like I was never asked to do that. I was always the askee because of obviously my frame, but then all of a sudden plasma and LCD and technology went it's so fast, but we were just recipients of the technology.
Mhm.
So I'm seeing the equivalent progression in technology even with AI. But Shane, let's break this down a little bit. I think the more important question is there's a lot of fluff around AI, especially for contractors, and I think people just like throw AI in there just in their dot AI or fluff. Like, what are some of the big AI marketing scams that you're seeing? Or I use the word scams, but what are some of the big things that people should steer away from when it says AI, but it's not really AI? They're just trying to capitalize on
Yeah.
the buzzword.
So the funny thing is some of these companies are using AI, right? But they're using it at that base level I talked about in the beginning, right? They're jumping on ChatGPT and they're creating ads. I mean, you can tell when you see an ad that has 12 emojis in it, right? It's got all these little icons and everything. You know that was created with AI. Like there's this dead giveaway. And if your agency is creating ads like that, it's like, what are you doing? Like that's insane. But we've gone through some sales training that we were working with a company and end up being just a nondescript coaching company, right? It wasn't even a like, we're going to help you build your campaign, do X, Y, and Z and all that stuff. But if they're giving you this like 100 leads a month, using our secret AI tech, right? It might be true, but the reality of it is they're just trying to get you in the door, right? And then they're going to upsell you on X, Y, and Z and do a bunch of stuff, right? So I think the biggest thing to look out for is whether or not they are able to show proof, right? Are they able to show transparency? Like if I go onto a sales call, anytime I'm on a sales call, I basically I show them exactly what I do. Here's the system. Here's how it works. Here's what you could be doing. Hell, I don't care if you hire us to do any agency work because sometimes we do stuff for people, or I don't care if you hire me to buy the software, right? I show you the exact method. And then I also say, if you don't buy from me, that's fine. Use this to go ahead, or even if you do, use our software to go check your agencies, right? That's a really cool thing that we've actually seen customers using our software. They'll go in and they'll learn the process and understand it. It's almost like a training per se. And now they can go to their agency and be like, why are you bidding on this keyword that's gotten me one conversion and it's cost $67 for something that all the other ones are getting, $7 conversions? Are you actually optimizing my campaign or not? Right. So looking out for that fluff where they're just kind of, okay, cool, high pressure sales, we can do everything.
Now, Shane, part of what it is being able to trust the person or the organization you're working with, right? So you have a product out there called Ad Personnel Queue, right? what is that and how can it help a contractor or a home service provider?
Yeah, don't like it's creepy. Let's just add the creepy. No, it's not creepy, but dude, it is so cool.
Like Uncle Creepy or like really like going to keep you up at night creepy?
Yeah.
I don't know. What are your uncles
I
like,
don't know. What are
Terry?
your
I was
uncles
like, I think more Big Brother creepy than it is any of those. Let's go with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this product
no.
actually goes out and looks at competitor reviews in your market, or even your company if you have enough reviews, and it'll actually analyze all of those reviews, the good, the bad, the ugly, and then it'll create a user profile exactly based on those reviews, and it'll show you the fears, the hates, the wants, like this person showed up late all the time, or this, or that. Like it'll actually give you an outline of what the customers are complaining about, and then you can take that and target exactly what your customers need, especially if you have a competitor, like you find a competitor in your market who has reviews that you can use, and it will do a deep analyzation. And then it'll take that, and then all of the ad copy from then on out will use that as its reference point to create new ad copy to really push the threshold on the new marketing.
That's crazy. I didn't know it read
Yeah,
the
you can choose who you
competitors'
want
reviews
and
too.
where you want it to come from.
That's nuts. So SEO, SEM, that's a big talking point along marketing agencies, contractors alike. So now that you guys are bolting into companies and you're pushing out all of this content, like you're doing it in high volume with the use of AI and you're doing your SEO research and then bolting that in, like what's the validation process look like, Shane? Because if you're spreading multiple the campaigns across with this high speed, like where's the stop point that says, hey, this is a good ROI for my business, or are we just flooding
Got it.
information?
Yeah,
into
I
the
mean, as
space?
you know, bidding on ads it gets expensive, and if you're getting leads that are not converting into actual customers, right? There's two different versions of conversions, right? We talk about there's three ways you can convert in an ad for, like, let's say Google. It's they fill out a form, they make a phone call to you, and it lasts X amount of time, or you make a sale directly on the site, right? Those are the three main ways you would have a conversion according to Google. And so if they're converting to a lead, that means you've got someone to talk to. But if you are not getting high quality leads, then it doesn't matter, right? Your leads could be garbage. And there is actually some stuff out there, some bigger scams out there that are starting to come up where a lot of agencies will do pay per call or pay per lead instead of pay per click. And what that means is pay per lead is essentially when I go ahead and have a spreadsheet, let's say that someone called in, I give you that lead, or someone calls and I connect them to you. They're doing voice AI, and they're actually scamming people that way by having their voice AI calling these lead gen systems and then claiming it as a lead to you as a customer.
Oh, that's man, that would drive me
I saw your face,
crazy.
like,
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
I just well, I'm in the numbers game. Like we're in the numbers game as contractors, and it's like, how many leads did we get? How many appointments did we set? How many face-to-faces did we get? How many jobs did we sell? How many jobs did we get upscope, downscope? Money in the ground, and then eventually, like, we try to take that money and throw it back. So, well, Terry, what's the saying? Like, don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. Is that the saying?
That is the saying.
I hate it when marketing agencies do that. And it's like, well, we got you 12 leads. And it's like, well, they're also in like a third world country, not in the United States. I can't help.
I can't
I
convert
can't help their
those.
customer base. I can't even afford with my cost of goods sold to get over there. It just drives me crazy.
Now, Shane, the question that everyone seems to be asking is, how is AI coming for my job, right? Is it going to make me useless in this new space? And so how is this going to affect my call center or my marketing team out there? Is it going to do away with this, or is it just going to add to it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just adding more. I mean, I think some of the jobs that are within those companies are going to start sectioning off, right? But it's only adding more opportunity, right? For these, think about the amount of businesses. What is it, like 1.2 billion small businesses in the US are going to be closing that's just what's going to be closing from the baby boomer, generation. It's insane the amount of, and
Yeah.
the fact that that exists, that high number, and how many of these people do you think is actually using marketing, right? Like what percentage of small businesses are actually marketing?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I know up in here in
Yeah.
Vermont, right, everything's word of mouth, right? Marketing almost doesn't exist, right? If it does, you're kind of like, where's my return on ad spend? Because it's not, not converting. We use Front Porch Forum, which
Yeah.
is like a group site that gets most of our leads, right? And you pay $200 for a month. But yeah, I don't think it's taking away from people. It's more leading into more opportunities for these companies because they can do so much more, so much quicker, and if they can just focus on the sales in reality because most of the jobs are being done.
Hey, that's actually a great segue because there's a lot of contractors that we have and our 4 to 5 listeners that we have that they're on Nextdoor, they're on like these Angie's lists and more community pages. Are you finding that companies are building in like an AI interface to be able to respond to any social media aspects in businesses? Has that been happening? Because like I hate it. I'm tagged into every damn post or comment or whatever that happens in my business. And I'm like, it's 2025. Shouldn't I already have a program that's built in to respond to these like a troll that does like the Wendy's sarcastic comment responses? I mean, is that happening, Shane?
Tradies, running your small business can be demanding. You got suppliers you got to work with, you're managing crews, hell, you're chasing sales. It's a lot to take in. Listen, if you want to grow your business, you got to stop working in it and you got to start working on it. So that's where my friends at Foundation Rescue Supply come in. You're not just getting foundation repair products and waterproofing products and air quality control products. With their nationwide distribution, you're getting a partner who knows how to help you scale. And that's why I use them. The Foundation Rescue Supply team has industry knowledge that'll help make your life easier. You get the tools, the trainings, the systems that you need to move the needle. You want your sales team to close more leads? Done, because they have the proven process for that. You need your crews to work smarter, not harder? Done. Their installation training will get you out there and rocking and rolling in the field. With Foundation Rescue Supply, you're not just buying materials here, you're buying a better business system that they have helped create. And you sell more, you install more, and you grow your team. So the bottom line is this: you get best industry pricing, you get field productivity on track, and you get more revenue out of everybody on your team. So this is your chance to step up, scale up, and thrive. If you are ready to make that happen, head to foundationrescuesupply.com, check out their catalog, and speak to my friends, their team, how you can take beyond the products with your company with Foundation Rescue Supply.
Yes, it is. There are a few companies that I know of that use proxy based. It's way above my head in terms of technical, but proxy based, like it gets away from being figured out that it's AI or that you're posting from the same address. Let's say it's an anti-detect software. One of our partners has an anti-detect software that actually goes out and creates cross posts to gain, what would you call that? The ability to grow their audience, I guess, or just their ability to post more. Because I don't know about you, but I've gone on Facebook, throw 3 posts out in one day and get banned from Facebook for 48 hours or kicked out of a group or whatever it is. But they can go in and make hundreds of accounts that can then have conversations and build up their quality score, I guess, and then plug in your business. And same thing, because it's really hard to do with Facebook. It's really hard to do with any of the meta world to automate any posts from a personal account. That's almost impossible unless you're using this anti-detect type stuff.
That's wild.
Yeah,
Crazy.
really cool.
Terry, were you running with the next one, or was that just a weird, uncomfortable silence?
No, it's completely. I mean,
Well,
I mean,
That's why I love Drake. Drake cuts out all the weird awkwardness in between. Yeah, hold on real quick, because Drake, I do not want you to edit out any of that awkwardness, because Terry and I, while we give each other a lot of shit, we respect each other's space.
no, we don't.
And we like to volley back and forth in our questions. We respect each other. Terry, I love you. I love you as a friend.
In the back of my mind, the only thing I'm thinking about is you sitting at home responding to these reviews on the company's webpage. And I'm thinking about how I'm going to get in there and just drive you up the wall with these stupid comments. And if it wouldn't hurt you, I would do it. If it would just hurt you and aggravate you, I would do it in a heartbeat. But I'm not going to do it. But it was just kind of like thinking about all the horrible like AI stuff out there that's just going to create all these problems out there. It's going to be miserable.
Well, I got a secret for you, Terry. I've got 2 cards up my sleeve. Number 1, my wife, Sydney, is the best at responding to the obnoxious people online. And she does it in such a sarcastic, sadistic way. I love it. But also, I've got Shane here that's probably going to build a bot for me that's going to help me
Smack it
respond to
down.
people like you. Anyway, so sorry. No, Shane,
Good.
you guys have some cool products coming in. Like, let's hear it, bro. Like, I love it. I'm a customer. Let's go.
Yeah. So we have the ad persona AI that I wanted to give a basically a ideal client profile for everyone who's listening here. So if you go to agencyapps.com/ideal client, we're going to have a form on there for you to fill out, and we'll create an ideal client profile for you so you can actually see what's out there and what you need to be targeting. So really, it's a good snapshot of what you should be doing and what your agencies should be doing for you and what their target is. So definitely check that out. I wanted to provide that for everyone.
Yeah. And it's pretty cool what you guys are doing with that. But also, Terry, I am going to go back to your statement before. So, like this idea of spam attacks from competitors probably being fed by AI, like, what does that look like? How are you guys protecting people from that? How are you guarding it? Because any jackleg sitting in boxers at 3 a.m. in the morning watching Star Wars can write a review on your company, and it could just be spamming.
Yeah, I mean, that's something you need to keep track of, right? So one of the things that we really recommend is some of the review software that we work with, some of our partners. They basically, when you're done with your site visit, right, it sends a text message to them automatically. And then that text message says, hey, can you give us a rating? 1 to 5. And then that rating basically says, based on the rating, it either says, hey, Will, get your ass over and call Lisa because she's pissed. or it gives you a 5 and goes, oh, great. Would you like to write a review for us? And gives them a template to start with, an AI template. Be like, oh, they worked on your furnace. So here's a quick little starting point. Finish it out. If you like it, great. Hit the thumbs up. We'll send it directly to your website. And then you'll be like, hey, would you also mind posting this to Google? And it does this whole process, right? But if you're not keeping an eye on that, right, because that's the lifeblood of your business as well, right? Reviews is how, like, validation of humans is how people make a choice, right? They want other people's validation for what they're doing. If they don't find that there's something good online about what you did, well, they're out. They don't want to work with you. And so even though there are lots of ways that competitors, especially like your marketing budget, there's an easy way to put other companies out of business by having a bot that can just come in and target your ads and just make you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, and there goes your whole spend ad budget, right?
Yeah.
So, Shane, you work with a whole lot of contractors out there. And so, from your opinion, working with all of them, what is the most underrated use of AI that you've seen contractors not moving into that space right now?
I would say it honestly is the voice AI right now, because there's 2 things that are easy to get to and things that are just that people are scared of, right? Especially think about contractors, right? They're like, I don't want that computer shit answering my call. Like they're just terrified of it. They hear that and they think of, there's this. I also think of Terminator as well, but like at the same time, you got to jump on it's going to be everywhere, right? There's no more answering machines.
Yep.
Think about that. Answering machines will not exist. You're going to have a voice AI personal assistant answering your phone and then either connecting you directly to the person on the other side, even as a personal phone, or they're going to schedule a call. As a customer, I want to be able to know that someone answered, because if I got a voicemail, I'm out. I hang up and I call the next contractor, right? You all have done that. We've all done that. And so that's definitely the number one thing. And I think the other one is for more of a deep analytical side, where you're looking at how you can combine something like this voice AI with looking at what you've already done for customers, right? Well, you talk about it where you squeeze out every penny out of a customer, right? Because those customers are the lifeblood of your business. You've already got the lead. You're leaving money on the table. But if you did a contract, let's say you're an HVAC company, 5-7 years from now, you're going to reach out back to that person who you did a furnace for. And you're going to say, hey, you're coming up on your 7-year. How's your furnace doing? You're probably due for a new one soon, right? Or whatever it is. Maybe not furnace, but like a heat pump, because we know those go every 10 minutes. So things like that, where you're using the systems that are already, the information you already have, to catalog what you've done, to then go ahead and apply a voice AI system to go and call it and get that information back from them, and really just they can close deals right then and there.
Well, I want to dive deeper into this because voice AI is, your product is awesome. But I think a lot of folks look at it like, well, how much implementation? It's not just like plug up the AI and they answer all the questions. You have to build in use cases. And I think a lot of folks that are, including myself, Terry, put your tinfoil hat on, I'll bring my club. We think it's like so arduous to implement voice AI into the business. Like, what does that process look like to get that virtual AI assistant to booking those calls and things like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So depending on the level of dependency you want on that, right? And depending on how complicated your system currently is your system clean? If it's set up using like Go High Level or House Call Pro or something like that, it's a lot simpler than you think, because you've already got the data there, you've already got the leads, you've already got the information, and it's really all about setting up communication between those things, right? We have, for a company who's doesn't have that, it could take literally 48 hours, 72 hours max to set this up. As long as you give us everything we need, we just basically plug in your information and someone calls your phone number and they get a voice AI that says, you want us your
And
email?
it sounds like the freaking owner. This is crazy
Yeah.
stuff. Are
Yeah.
we talking about like the voice recordings that you're pulling from House Call Pro? Or are we talking about like just like the notes that are put in?
The information, yeah. So like knowing the customer's, phone number, email, how to contact them, basically it's like tagging a system. A tag is essentially just a side note that says, all right, this person bought a furnace or was installed a furnace on this date, or this one had a service call on this date, right? Those are called tags. And it knows based on that information, okay, well, you're up for a service call in the spring. We're going to call you.
I tell you, I honestly, because I've gone through a few of these and we had some questions about it, about these fluff AI companies before, where it's like, well, you got to upload all these use cases and it takes hours and hours and hours of recordings and stuff like that. But the fact that you can do that, I mean, and I want to say this, Terry. I know we're kind of elder millennials, right? Like we dealt with the little Microsoft voice to text where it's like, we're going to chuck this in there and it's going to be like, hello, my name is Terry.
Yep.
And it's like, that's what I feel like when I want to upload this stuff into AI, but I didn't realize it was going to pull in from like even the service records. That is nuts.
Well,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that's the question I have is I'm thinking back, how many interactions have I had with a home service provider that have been AI generated, right? And I just don't know, because Will's completely right. I'm thinking it's going to be that computer automated voice tone. Is there a way for me to see how good your product is and be like, oh, wow, I could employ this in my organization and not look like I'm just bailing on the person?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a test on our site. You can actually call the phone number, or you can hit the button that goes ahead and does a demo with you. And actually, you can, as a home, like we've got it set up a couple different ways. You can use it as a contractor directly, and I can set it up so that it's, hey, pretend that we're John's lawn service, and it'll have that conversation as if that was the case. Or it goes in as our company, agency apps, and we have this person, Casey, answers the phone and she talks to you about this and she asks you your name, number, etc. And so that's a cold call agent that /voice, I believe. Let me double check. Actually, no, I think I changed it to beers. Hold on one sec for you guys.
No, this is cool. You're going to get spam called from 5.5 listeners now. So you give me the call or the number, and I'm
Yeah.
going to put it in the show notes.
Cool.
Because I think that's the biggest fear about introducing like voice AI to call centers is like, is it going to invite my, and I'm going to be very clear, I'm going to get all touchy-feely here. My neighbors in my community, my potential customers in my community that I could bump into at a grocery store, that they're going to call and feel like they're dealing with a robot, right? And it's becoming so authentic. But it does trail back to what you were talking about, Terry. It's like people are just calling because they want to solve a problem. I don't care who it is, just solve my air conditioning that has failed in 105-degree heat. It's like solve my problem and get somebody out here because my toilet's leaking. All of that. And that's really what it comes down to. And that sounds selfish, but that's who we are as human beings. So
You're exactly right. That's exactly what happens. The test cases show exactly that. The people that don't like it, they just hang up, and they were going to hang up your voicemail anyway because they're angry that you didn't answer. And then the ones that don't even recognize it is another side. And then the ones that are just like, is this AI? They ask, and she's like, yeah, I'm AI, but I'm helping out, and this is why. And people are like, oh, that's cool.
How often have you yelled at the phone, just yelling operator because it's some computer aided? It's like you're just pissed off you can't talk to a real person, right?
thank God our listener demographic is above 30, Terry, because anybody under 30 is going to be like, what the hell is an operator?
What's an operator? Yeah, exactly.
You're just pounding zero on the phone.
Sorry, I'm showing my own age. Anybody under
This is
40
not
probably
recognized.
saying, what the hell's an operator?
Yeah. That number is not recognized by our system. Let me start over the prompting. I know you were on number 9.
Yeah, you're so it's off at that point in time.
And it was like, press star for operator at the end. You're like, you son of a.
And then it comes back to you like your entry is not recognized. It's
And then you finally get to the right button, and then it's like, oh, there's no one available to take your call. Please leave a message.
By the way, I think like AI is going to kill the phone tree. Like the phone tree of like dial 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's just like, tell me what you're calling for.
Yep.
Hey, anyways, hey,
God.
Terry, sorry, I trumped your question a little bit. I truffled over it, if you will, but like Shane, I've had so much fun with you. This is awesome. I think like what you're describing and doing, especially with like the voice AI stuff, and when I say creepy, I don't mean it in a creepy way, but like the add personal cue stuff that you guys are doing is awesome. It's giving a better value to the people out there who want home services. It's providing it to the contractors and all that. But now we get to pull back the veil. We always ask our guests, I am known as the patron saint of screwing things up. If I screw it up so bad, I just want to brag about it like a Texan. Like, yeah, I messed it up that bad. What is a mistake or screw up you had in your career that you could at least share and express some humility to say you screwed it up and help somebody out there in the world?
Yeah, absolutely. So this might be a little bit of a niche thing, right? It's in the real estate world. We were just under contract for a motel hotel that was by a ski resort up here in Vermont. And we got all the way to we're 30 days in. We got all the way we're about to close in another 15 days. And I did the appraisal. And the reason I waited till that timeline was because there's something in Vermont called right of first refusal. And right of first refusal, it's available in other places, but it's something in the contract on the deed that says Tony over here can buy this property. And they have the right to buy it before you do, anyone else, at the price that they're offering. And we had this killer deal. It was seller finance. It was a 50 unit we're going to convert it into. It was going to be worth like $6 million when we were done. I was buying it for around $750, and expected, based on the rules that in the contract or in the whatever, that the seller was going to go ahead and do it within the right away, right? Because that's that side of things should be doing. And they didn't get a hold of the seller or the right of first refusal holder until the 22 days later, and they had a 30-day window from notification to trigger and use this. And so I
Terry's
waited.
laughing. He
Yeah.
knows what that's
Sure, he
about,
knows
bro.
all about it. And so I waited the 30 days thinking it was done, but I didn't actually cross my T's and dot my I's.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't go and say, have you done exactly this? Have you made sure that this is done? And that was on me completely, right? I didn't, before I spent $5,000 on an appraisal and then, all the other time and effort and energy into that. So I think if you're getting into something and you haven't done your research, especially for things that are, contracted things, or, look at equipment you buy, right? If you didn't do your research and have someone appraise it and look at it and see if it's working, that's on you, right? So
Yep.
I think if you can identify the things that are, when you expect other people to do your job, that's when the biggest mistakes happen, right? And not staying on top of it.
Well, Shane, I think you made out all right, my man. And I love your history about being in tech schools. Now you're jumping into the tech world. Terry, like most people, when they bald down the middle.
Yep.
And Shane is balding on the side and growing it up the middle.
Exactly. It's really a comb
So
over.
it also worked out. Terry, do you feel educated as like a, country boy up there in Guthrie?
I am leaving here smarter. I'm leaving here smarter than when I started. And thanks to Shane and not to you, Will.
Well, I got to get better at using the word creepy when we talk about AI. It's cool. Dude, it is so cool. And Shane, I appreciate you. We're going to obviously put tons of information so people can contact you. I already got 3-4 people that want to talk to you tomorrow in my circles, and we appreciate you. To all of you guys listening, I know we've got a big cluster of you guys in Ohio. So if you're listening this far before we close out, because there's always a dip off at the very end, I want you to comment and be like, hey, Ohio, Buckeye State, let's go, because I know you guys are listening up there. But I appreciate you guys in the trades world. Terry, we talked a lot of smack. I appreciate you, bro. Drake, I know you're listening in the back end. Appreciate you. Shane, thank you so much for this. I can't wait to see how this evolves. I want to have you on again. And otherwise, we'll see everybody on another episode of Beers with Contractors next week. See you guys. Peace.
See ya.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Beers with Contractors. We hope you enjoyed our chat as much as we did. Before we say our final goodbyes, a friendly reminder. Beers with Contractors encourages responsible drinking. If you choose to enjoy a beverage during our time together, please do so in moderation and only if you're of legal drinking age in your country or state. Furthermore, the advice and insights shared in this podcast are for informational purposes only. Always consult with professionals and experts in your field, and be sure to follow local laws and regulations regarding licensing and permits. We're here to help, entertain, and inspire, but your safety and compliance are important. So, as you head out into the world of construction and contracting, remember to build responsibly and make decisions that stand the test of time. Thanks for joining us today. We'll catch you on the next episode of Beers with Contractors. Until then, cheers to your success.